Sitaram, and thank you for joining us. You are about to enjoy a satsang by Pundit Keshava Gosine. You can call or WhatsApp Pundit Keshava Gosine at 712-2180. Sitaram, and do enjoy this presentation.
Prem Samalo Mahapati Mahadeva Ki Jai. Sitaram, everybody. This evening, as we begin the first night of 3 nights of Mahabharata discourse, our text will be Mahabharata, but we'll be delving into different texts, different sutras. As we have seen in our local news and international news, the death of many children, many parents being bothered by the death of Andrea Bharat and other people that have gone missing in the local circle. And internationally, many people have problems, sickness, trouble, even with COVID. Many people ask, why is it that I have to live to see my child, unfortunately, live to see my child die? And then the next question for young parents, upcoming parents, parents that are in this position where they are developing their children and they are very afraid, what could I do to prevent these things from happening? And we sat down and we decided that this would be a nice topic to teach. In our text, there's a sanskar. A sanskar is at a major juncture in your life, a wedding, a funeral. All these are sanskars. When you're cutting the hair for the first time, when you're feeding for the first time solid food, all are sanskar. And they all have their names and rituals and practices, etc. But there is a sanskar for the conception of children. Now, as you can imagine, this one would be shrouded in a lot of he say and them say because many people will stay away from it. They're afraid of it. But when you think about it, parents, if my child is one of the, if not the most valuable thing that I own, and I could do something or I could say something that would better prepare my child for this world, or prepare me for my child, or prevent my child from going through some form of mayhem, some form of pain, some form of murder, some form of hurt, well then, you know what, I'm going to do all that I could do for my children. Because arguably tonight, parents, let us be fair, parents perform their duty, parents perform the provider role very good. They work hard. And they provide lessons and extra tutoring, the wonderful clothes they want, the shoes they desire, the food. Mommy, tonight I don't feel like eating okra, I want to eat fry aloo. Whatever, mommy is going to get up and she's going to make it for them, lovingly. But suppose there is something inherent in their karma, parad karma, that they're going to encounter pain, trouble, suffering. COVID. Who would have thought COVID could rob somebody of their child? Now, this is a very sensitive issue. And I am definitely not harping on anybody's pain or loss. I am just simply making a point to try and save other people from loss. We need to reflect, brothers and sisters, on our family structure. COVID is teaching that we need to get our priorities right. And family is paramount. This afternoon, as we get into our discourse, we enter into Mahabharata discourse. And tomorrow night, we're going to discuss sanskar and so on more. In this discourse tonight, we'll illustrate the linkage, the prowess of a father passing on what he knows to a child, and it gives a child certain amount of a pedestal to propel the person into life, and where the father stops, there it stops as well for the child. I've heard many people say it. Children are born with a gold spoon, Pundit. Children, it was as if the child was born with that knowledge. The child was born able and capable to do everything you could imagine on a phone. And as I was thinking about it, I tested my niece. My niece is upstairs studying. And I said, I don't know what's going on with his phone. The Wi-Fi or something here is giving me a bad message. See what's happening here. And tutus, Mamo, the Wi-Fi off. This thing need updating. And I'm sure everybody has a similar type experience. If we go to school to learn maths, if we go to school to learn English, we go to a driving school to learn how to drive, we go to some tutoring, somebody, mama says, come and learn how to turn the pot, so you're going to learn how to bale the roti or to make the fry aloo, whatever is the case. There has to be a point where somebody is saying, come, let me show you how to do it. But this is the catch. Where did my niece learn how to program a universal TV control or the phone? Have you ever seen children do that? They know how to connect the PlayStation or the DVD player if we still have those things. I didn't teach you how to do that. Where did that knowledge come from? And up to this day, I wonder how is it that they are adapting to technology so quickly when the adults who apparently supposed to know more, but sometimes I feel like I don't know anything in front of them. You know, with this COVID, we've all been trusted into mobile banking and doing a lot of bill payments on things. And my niece and my nephew would come and say, no, you're doing it wrong. Press this, go into here. Are you seeing this line here? Come on, press that. And my point is this, besides I'm advertising my ignorance of technology, who taught these children these things? Children have I have to say, unexplainable ability to adapt a certain amount of information. We see it every day. Whether you call it miracle, whether you call it gifted in music, cooking, the ability to comprehend, to speak. A young baby is in somebody's hand and you call their name and the child, without being able to talk yet, is reacting, is turning, is looking at you, making eye contact. It is as if they are understanding, even at that age, to understand the language, to understand communication and communicative skills. Unfortunately, we also live in a time where children are born with the opposite. Children are born with Asperger, Down syndrome, some form of autism. Some people blame the environment we live in with pollution, with the type of plastics that we expose our children to. In Hinduism, we speak about the value of the womb, the value of the mother and the father coming together to make this child. The weaknesses, the lapse that parents make does have an impact on the child. And because of the trend in society where children are getting sick, they're losing their kids, I thought because of this, I wanted to talk a little bit to parents. Parents come in, parents that have already burned, to give them solace so that they could understand that maybe guide somebody, maybe guide the young people for the case of a grandparent. I didn't know about those prayers. Garib Brand says that only the souls of great Devatas, Devis, they are afforded the opportunity to have parents that will do all the sanskars to guide them, to mold them, to make them more competent and more capable. So, for example, it is not surprising nowadays you will see parents, grandparents say, I never know about those things. But because this child is coming into the family, somebody said, somebody read, somebody heard Pundit Keshava talk about some sanskar. And now we want to know about Mundan sanskar and Anaprashana sanskar, the prayers where we are cooking with the pot in the oven and we are making the first sweet rice and the daddy has to squeeze the rice, and with the mantras that the Baba is saying, feed the baby, begging God to bless the mouth, the tongue, the throat, the larynx, pharynx, come down the esophagus, stomach bag, the different regions of the intestine, straight out the butt. Dear God, bless all these regions and do not allow infection. For example, infection to take hold, gripe and gasping to interfere with the baby. Bless this child to absorb the nutrition that will come from the food and allow him or her to develop properly. There are prayers like that in our Dharma. But when parents are not aware of them, goodly parents cannot do what they don't know. So the first thing I want to make very clear, I am not bashing anybody who did not do this for your child. I am simply doing my job and making sure that everybody knows about it. Because I guess for some pundits, this particular Garbha Dhan sanskar, that is what it is called. Garbha means the fetus, the giving, the making of the fetus. This is the relevant sanskar we're talking about, the beginning of the pregnancy, the conception. And tomorrow night, we'll talk about it. Tonight, I'm doing this discourse in a kind of back to front. We are talking about the end product. What one day he was conceived, then he grew up, and now he's on the battlefield. We are entering into Mahabharata where he's getting ready to fight. And we'll hear who he is just now. So after we discuss who this personality is and what they have and what they could do and all these wonderful things, then we'll talk about how do you get somebody like that. So as we enter, let's do opening mantras and then we'll do ashtakam to Krishna Bhagavan. Please join your hands together. Close your eyes. And for the families out here watching, for those of you watching on Sankhya TV, by the grace of our sponsor, again, we're together again. Thank you, God, for this medium. There's so many people under restrictions throughout this world. If the vaccine cannot come fast enough, variants are coming. And for some people, they're living in fear. And even myself, it's not very safe. You're playing a game. It's like playing Russian roulette when you speak to people or go to people's home or you're doing something and you're in close proximity with somebody. So for that reason, we are here in this way. And I hope that we can help lift your spirits and lift your prayer and your energy via this satsang and others to come. Let's thank God and pray to God that, dear Lord, protect our home, protect our family as we enter into our discourse tonight. Om Gajananam Bhutaganadi Sevitam Kapita Jambo Palachara Bhakshitam Umasutam Sho Kavinashagarakam Namami Viganeshwara Parapankajam Sarvamangalamangaliye Shive Sarvata Sadike Sharanye Bike Gauri Narayani Namostute Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki Jai. In this section of Mahabharata, we are reading from Drona Parva, the Abhimanyu Vada Parva, sub-Parva. And we are going to listen to discourses that deal with him, how he enters into the battle, the war, and the field of Kurukshetra is running. It is happening, it is ongoing. And we enter where you're going to hear Yudhishthir is bringing on Abhimanyu into the fight. And what is going to happen? Before we do so, join your hands one more time as we chant today just a couple of verses from the Damodara ashtakam. Damodara is that same Krishna, that same persona where he's close to Yashoda. Damodar means the one who is tied around the waist with the rope when Mother Yashoda ties him to the pestle. Namami Shwaram Sachidananda Rupam Lasakundalam Gokule Braja Janamam Yashoda Bhiloka Ladha Vahanam Param Rishtayanta Todruya Gopayam Rudantamahuraretrayugayam Mrijantam Kama Bhojanam Yugame Satanka Netra Mahovyasa Treraka Kantastita Grivam Damodaram Bhakti Vadamam. Seeing your mother coming with the whipping stick, O Karna, you cried and rubbed your eyes again and again with your two lotus-like hands. Your eyes were full with fear and breathing quickly. And Mother Yashoda takes the rope and she binds your belly. And you shiver in fright. The pearls around your neck shook. O Damodara, I offer my obeisances, my prayers to you. Varam deva mokshanam na mokshaswadim vanachayam varne aham varisadapiha idam devya punata gopala bhalam Sarame manase aved stitam kim anale Shri idam mukham bojam ayantam nilakari. O Lord, although you are able to give all kinds of benediction, I do not pray today for liberation, nor eternal life in Vaikuntha, nor any type of boon. My only prayer is that your childhood pastimes must always be in my mind. Dear Lord, allow me to always see you running helter and skelter all over the place. I do not even want to know your feature of the Param Atma. I only wish that your childhood pastimes be reenacted in my heart and my mind. So in times of trouble and want, I would have you with me. Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki Jai. Let's enter now, as I said, the Abhimanyu Vada Parva, chapter 33 of the Mahabharata. Sanjay is speaking to Dhritarashtra, the blind king. Dhritarashtra is asking all kinds of questions. All he wants to know: who is fighting? Where did they fight? What are they doing on the battlefield? What is going on? Please tell me, Sanjay. I want to know. Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah. Narayanaya Krishnaya
Paramatmaya Namo Narayanaya Krishnaya
Paramatmaya Namo Namah. Tatra Drona Nividhito Vyaho Rajan Vyorochat Charan Madhya Din Surya Pratavendur Yena Durashe Narayanaya Krishnaya
Paramatmaya Namo Namah.
Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah.
Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo
Namah. Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki Jai. In a previous Parva, before we go forward, in a previous Parva, it describes how all the devatas, Kalnemi is reborn as Kans, Nara is reborn as Arjun, Narayan is coming back as Krishna. All of the devatas had taken their form. Arjun is also a part incarnation or the child of Indradev. And when it came to Abhimanyu, who is Abhimanyu? Abhimanyu is the son of Arjun by Subhadra Devi. Abhimanyu was the son of Som, let's say a form of Surya. And Som cannot do without his son. He says, I'm going to spare my son for 16 years. And one day when he makes 16, he's going to have to come back to me. Let him be in the company of Nara and Narayan, who is going to be Arjun and Krishna. But one day when they are not looking, when they are not around to protect him, to save him, let my son return to me. In this Parva, that moment is coming close. Abhimanyu was sheltered. He was grown in all comfort, but he was very knowledgeable. Let's hear, as it is said on the battlefield, Drona, the teacher, is fighting relentlessly with Arjun. A great battle that has never been seen between teacher and student is now on the table. And they are fighting each other. And Arjun turned his chariot in such a way that the midday sun is pounding the earth. It is hitting them. And it is drawing their energy, as it were, as they are fighting as well. Abhimanyu is brought to the battlefield by Yudhishthira, his father's eldest brother. And he is the one who has come to fight on behalf of his family, the Kurus. Having achieved many different feats and slain many warriors, the son of Subhadra Devi, the son of Arjun, faced 6 warriors, one after the other on that battlefield, who were blanking. And at last, the son of Dushashan, your son, your grandson, takes the life of Abhimanyu. O great king, he gave up his life in battle. And at the death of Abhimanyu, our side, the Kurus, the Duryodhan, and all your other sons, they were in rapture, they were happy. The Pandavas appeared to be depressed and were filled with grief, listening and hearing and seeing the fall of this great warrior. And Sanjay stopped, didn't say anything again. That was a big summary of what happened on the battlefield. The blind king says, hearing the death of such a youthful son, of that foremost Arjun, my heart seems to be split in two. On one side, I am hurt. It is as if my brother's grandson is my grandson. You know, when we have Shrad, when we have Tarpan to offer, and we have two brothers, their sons could be the son of one brother, according to Gard Puran, the son of one brother is the son of all the brothers. The grandson of one brother is the grandson of all the brothers, because they belong to the same lineage, they belong to the same surname. Dhritarashtra, he's aware of this. And he said, oh, and one half of my heart, I know it is as if I had lost my grandson. I am hurt. I am bewildered with pain here. He says, but on the other half of my heart, I am joyous, I am happy, because my sons are winning. He says, oh advisor, oh prime minister, you who have the vision to narrate, don't rob me of this. Tell me how to destroy that hero. He says, being a Kshatri is a very hard thing. We have to maintain the law. We are the lawgivers. We make the policy. And in carrying out our duty, in maintaining the sovereignty of a country or a city or a place, we shoot weapons at innocent children. In this instance, the son of Arjun is a 16-year-old boy. Don't rob me of that. Tell me. Now bear in mind, he wants to win. This is not genuine grief. This is not genuine remorse. The fight could have stopped right there. But he doesn't do it. Oh, Sanjaya, how did so many warriors accomplish? So many accomplished warriors with all the weapons. How did they destroy him? How did they catch him when so many have tried and failed? Tell me, how did that son of Subhadra, who is endowed with immeasurable might and sport, how did he do it? How did they stop him? And where does this greatness that he had, where does it come from? Sanjay says, I will tell you how the hero played amidst us. Having penetrated in our ranks and file, soldiers were dying. He was like a plague, a pestilence against our army. He was so competent. O king, please listen. The king is finding it hard to believe that this person was so powerful. But he begins to explain to him so that he would understand. The same Sanjaya. Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah. Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah. Sattva karmanveyatam pujotina koyati kirtaye yashvaye shriya Naiva bhutna namayate. Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah. Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki Jai. He says, in order for you to understand this personality, this child, let me remind you where he comes from. How is he made? How is it that he is so powerful? In righteousness, in deeds, in the lineage, in intelligence, being renowned, fame, prosperity, popular. Nobody can equal Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira is constantly in the enjoyment of heavenly bliss, consequence to his devotion to truthfulness and righteousness and controlled passion, worship of all the Pandits, the Vipras. Much more qualities in terms of his control, of his attitude, in terms of his being good and standing for good. The destroyer, next verse, the destroyer at the end of the entire, the 4 yuga, the Mahapralay, the highly pursuant son of Jamad Agni, Parshuram, and Bhimsen on his vehicle in the battle, these 3 are equal in power. The 3 of them, so powerful is Bhim, he is compared to Mahadev. The wielder of the Gandiva bow, which is received from Lord Shiva, ever competent, fulfills his vows in battle. When Arjun says he will do something, he sticks to it and he does it. That son of Pritha. Pritha is another name for Kunti Devi. That person holding that bow and his arrow as an archer, I don't see any equal. O Sanjay, O Dhritarashtra, O Rajan, there is no equal. Devotion to elders, the ability as a king to have this council of secrecy, spies and so on. Modesty, self-control, beauty, heroism. These virtues all were held by Nakul, one of the younger brothers of his father. In knowing of the Shrutis, gravity, humility, religiousness, beauty, physical beauty, the prowess of animals, Sahadev, who has the power of the Ashwin Kumar, he has those traits. All these illustrious qualities that are present in Krishna and the Pandavas, all of these qualities are seen to be combined in Abhimanyu. Abhimanyu was equal to Yudhishthira in patience, to Krishna in conduct, to Bhim in all terrible deeds that he has to accomplish. He will accomplish it. He was equal in Dhanjaya or Yudhishthira in the beauty of a person. The prowess, scriptural knowledge of Nakul and Sahadev that allowed them to have humility, those features came from them. Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki Jai. So great, O King, so great is Abhimanyu. He says, I don't want to hear about that. I want to hear how he was slain in battle. I don't want to hear about the trappings of a dead person. Tell me now, O Prime Minister. I am the king, you work for me. Tell me now how he died. Sanjay says, be patient, O king. Bear your unbearable burden of grief. You are losing children in this battle day in, day out. You are losing the battle. But bear it. I shall speak of the carnage. How did it happen? Please listen. Jai Bhole Baba Tab Sharanam. Jai Bhole Baba Tab Sharanam. Jai Bhole Baba Tab Sharanam. Jai Samba Sada Shiva Tab Sharanam. Jai Samba Sada Shiva Tab Sharanam. Kritabhi Samnya Ye Sarve. Sutava Varani Krita Dvaijan. Ketab sarve sarva rakta raktavi ye bhi janyatau. Jai Bhole Baba Tab Sharanam. Jai Bhole
Baba Tab Sharanam. Jai Bhole Baba Tab Sharanam.
Jai Samba Sada Shiva Tab Sharanam. Jai Samba Sada Shiva Tab Sharanam. He says in the Vir Chakra, the the circular array or monarch they was forming by Drona started to form up. He takes his entire cavalry and he wants them now to start to spin, ride endlessly so that nobody can penetrate. At the head of this chakra is the Guru. All the different princes are there with him. Duryodhana not too far. All of them sword in hand and they are swinging left and right, so as to prevent anybody from charging into that circle. All of them have crimson red flag. All of them have golden garlands and dressings around their chariot. So with the speed and the constant turning, it is becoming like a band of gold is in front of them. And the red is fluttering into so much red and so much color. In a serried file, they rush against the nephew of Krishna, who is the same Abhimanyu. Desirous of fighting, they want to damage him, they want to kill him, all of them. Great archers, great weapon holders, outnumber him thousands to one. Placing at their head the handsome Duryodhana, your son. He's at the head and he leaves the circle and he's standing in the middle. And he's waiting to see if Abhimanyu will come. The king is still being watched by Karna, Dushashan, Kripa and all the others henchmen going around in a circle. See it in your mind, friends. See it. All the great kings, Raja Sindhu, the person who is in charge of that place called Madras. The brother-in-law of Duryodhana. Dhritarashtra, the blind king, has 100 sons. That 100 sons from the wife of Gandhari, he has one son from a Vaishya lady outside his marriage, and he has a daughter. And that daughter was married to Jayadratha, the king of the Sindhu or the Madras area. And they are all fighting together. It is a family effort and they are waging against him. They want to kill Abhimanyu. He is too powerful, he is too strong. If we damage him, if we kill him and we get him, it will be a severe blow. Drona is teaching Duryodhana, if we kill him, it will weaken the forces of the Pandavas and they will retreat out of fear. Because if Abhimanyu can fall, all of them can fall. Bhimsen marched out against this array, protected as they were from the son of Bharadwaj, Drona. Satyaki and Priyashat, all of them are there taking part in this. And the son of Arjuna is watching. All of them run. The son, Chedis and Drishtaketu, the son of Madri and Gatukach, they are in the battle as well. Let's hear what happens. As we enter, as Drona is sending message, let them come, let them come. Jai Bhole Baba Tab Sharanam, 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 Jai Samba Sada Shiva Tab Sharanam. Tara dvijayetam pasvinam yam dronasya bhojanayurva palam yadeya dunandatam nabhya yantu panchala. Jai Bhole Baba Tab Sharanam, 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 Jai Samba Sada Shiva Tab Sharanam, Jai Samba Sada Shiva Tab Sharanam. Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki Jai. Drona is taunting them, come, come, come. And the Vir Chakra, the spinning wheel of man, as they are forming, imagine all the horses, head to tail, and they're going, more speed, more speed, more speed. And the guru, the enemy, is calling them, come, come, fight us, come, come. Beholding the rage of Drona, ready to rush, Raja Yudhishthir thinks before he makes a move. Regarding Drona is incapable of being checked. Who is able to stop him? Today, I have to put this unbearable burden on this child, on my child, on the son of Subhadra. He is the only one who can handle this. He says, O son, O Abhimanyu, today I put you in harm. I put you in trouble because I am putting you to face what I cannot win, what I cannot face. Today I am putting you against Dronacharya. We need to get him off the battlefield, otherwise we are going to lose. Abhimanyu, who is no way inferior to his father, capable of great amount of power and art of war, prowess, Yudhishthir spoke to him, O son, do you act so that your father is not going to feel shame? He says, you're going to go on that battlefield and you're going to represent us. And when you go there, son, do not let your father bend his head. Break that chakra, that Vir Chakra, that I, Yudhishthir, do not know how to do it. O great one, O nephew, you, Arjun, Krishna, Pradyamuna, four of you can penetrate into that Vir Chakra, into that art of that mechanism of war. I do not have that training. Only four of you. I cannot even think of a fifth person. O son, get into that circle and destroy all of them. It behoves you, O son, O Abhimanyu, to accord this blessing to your uncles. All these soldiers beg you for your protection. Quickly take up your arms and smite down all these soldiers of Drona and return. Return to see your proud parents. Know that I, most of all, will be proud. Abhimanyu listened to his uncle. Listened. And very carefully, now he's going to talk. Desiring victory to my uncles, to my kings, I will without delay penetrate that array, the Vir Chakra. Firm and fierce, excellent array of troops in this battle. All of them great. I am going to go in, and I promise you, uncle, I will destroy them. Please listen to this, and this is going to gauge, this verse that I'm about to read is going to gauge some of our conversation over the next 3 sessions. Hari Narayana Govinda Keshava Madhava Gopala Hari Narayana Govinda Keshava Madhava Gopala Hari Narayana Govinda Upadrishtu hai mai petra Yogi anikaye Vaishnat No aseta he vinada Ghuna mahakasma chittayate Hari Narayana Govinda Keshava Madhava Gopala Hari Narayana Govinda Keshava Madhava Gopala Hari Narayana Govinda Vrindavan Bihari Lala Ki Jai. Do you remember what I said at the beginning about Som? Som says when Nar and Narayan, these two individuals that will be born as Arjuna and Krishna, will be distracted at a far end of the battlefield so as to allow my son, who is this reincarnated person called Abhimanyu, he's going to come back to me. The moment is upon us. Abhimanyu is 16 years old and he tells Yudhishthira, my father taught me the way to penetrate the Vir Chakra, the spinning circle. My father taught me how to get in, but I do not know how to come out. I do not know the method, the means, the science of how to come out of the circle. If perchance I get in and they realize that I cannot come out and they overcome me, I will be helpless. Because if you cannot come in now, how will you come in to save me? I will be by myself. Yudhishthira says, O great warrior, cut away through that array, through that Vir Chakra. Open for us to penetrate into it. Pursuing the track you make, we will follow in your footsteps. And when you get in there and you penetrate that hostile rank, we will follow you and we will destroy them by protecting you on all sides. Bhim says, I will follow you also, O great one. O nephew with great powers and prowess, I will protect you myself. When that array, when that Vir Chakra is destroyed, because we are present in the middle and we are going to burst them from the inside out, then this war will be over. Abhimanyu, listening to his uncle speak, he says, I will break through that invincible Vir Chakra of Dronacharya. Like an insect under the influence of anger rushes to the flame, I prepare where danger lay ahead. This day, I will go. Know that I will lift the name of my father and my mother and their entire family. Today, I lift all of your names, O Pandavas, O son of Pandu. Today, I lift the name of my Mamu, Lord Krishna. The mother brother is Lord Krishna. I will lift my maternal uncle, my Mamu. I lift his name because I go. I see the enemy and I am running towards them. Please be confident that this son of Subhadra is not going to fail. This son of Subhadra is not running away from the fight like a coward. Know that if encountering me anybody is able to cut me down, then I will take it and I remain there to die this day. Saying so, Yudhishthira says, may your might, O son of Subhadra, increase as we speak. I bless you today. May you go and beat that impenetrable circle and fear not about death. Know that we are with you, we are behind you, and we will protect you. Hearing these words of Yudhishthira, Abhimanyu commanded his charioteer, go quickly, O Sumitra, go towards the division, that section of the army of Dronacharya, where he is fighting. And as he's driving, as we enter into the next chapter, in this Abhimanyu Vada of this Parva of the Mahabharata, he's watching who he's coming up against. Let's hear what happens as he's seeing Dronacharya and all the others watching him now as trouble is coming. Devaki Nandana Govinda Kana Kanhaiya Gopala Devaki Nandana Govinda,
Kanha Kanhaiya Gopala, Devaki Nandana Govinda.
Karna Kanhaiya Gopala, Name Maitara Dvijayate, Sayanti Kalaryatam, Shodashi Mai Api Vishwajitam, Vishnu Mula Prapta Sutaj,
Devaki Nandana Govinda, Kanha Kanhaiya Gopala.
Devaki Nandana Govinda,
Kanha Kanhaiya Gopala.
Devaki Nandana Govinda, Kanha Kanhaiya Gopala, Pitarang Chaturbhujang Yudana, Bhir ma ye ma pushyati, Abhinujashya tam vacha karadhi, Kritaye sarat ye yadhi.
Devaki Nandana Govinda,
Kanha Kanhaiya Gopala. Devaki Nandana
Govinda,
Kanha Kanhaiya Gopala. Devaki Nandana Govinda. Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki Jai. As he's charging, Sanjay says to Dhritarashtra, he's thinking to himself, there is nobody there that is competent to face 1/16 of myself. In this way he's talking and he's saying it aloud for the driver, the charioteer, Sumitra to hear. My Mamu, that all world conquering Vishnu, my father, I will this day overcome this terror very easy. I have them with me. I have their blessings with me. I have their ability with me. What is he talking about? What is he talking about? Do you remember just now in that verse he says to Yudhishthira, my father has taught me the way to penetrate the circle, but he did not teach me how to come out. In a different Parva of the Mahabharata, Subhadra is with child, her belly is big, and every day Arjun would come and speak to the baby in the belly. And he would teach his unborn child the art of war. He would teach his child things to do, things not to do, talking to the baby. Long before the scientific world of the Western society could tell us that there is a benefit. There is a benefit to talking to the belly. In our text here now is a living, breathing example of somebody's father sat down every day and would talk to the child. And the child listened. Now the child is not no seasoned warrior like Bhishma, who is gray, who has divine birth and all these things that we hear about. He isn't born with powers. He's born with knowledge. Knowledge. And this knowledge came from what the mother was reading, what the mother was discussing, what the mother was thinking. Abhimanyu is further affected by the positivity of the father. In our dharma, when we talk about that garbhadhan sanskar, there is use of, now I'm baiting you because I don't want to just talk about the sanskar. I want to use it, as I said, back to front. We're finishing with who Abhimanyu is and how he was made and all that. And then we are going to go into how to do it. In our dharma, they talk about colors, clothes, things to wear, things not to wear for the pregnant girl. Things to wear, things not to wear. But the pregnant girl, we might call it God. But also remember, in the study of gemology, let's just say, I'm using my cap here so you could see it. Imagine I put on my finger a nice gem with the metal that comes from the patra associated with my Rasi name. And depending on what the Pundit guides you, you have the gem to suit. But the logic is the sun hits the gem, penetrates, amplifies the stone, goes into, shoots, because it is not touching the skin usually, it is above the skin, into the vein, shoot around the circulatory system. And just as we see Lord Krishna having that ball of light around his head, the aura, as we call it in English, that divine energy is enhanced now by the gem or the color or the oils that we rub on the belly, on the body. The baby, when the baby is born, don't we rub the baby with some stuff? Now, I'm appealing to you that you're watching the program. Send us a message. Call Sankhya. Send us a message on YouTube where you're looking at this program and tell me what you know. And I'm asking you at this point, what do you know? What did you do as a mother? What did you do as a father? How did you make your child? And let's see tomorrow night if we're on the right track. What are we doing when it's 6 days, when it's 12 days, when it's 3 months in the pregnancy, 6 months in the pregnancy, 8 months in the pregnancy, when the girl is coming home from the hospital? There's so much to do. But what we say, Baba, oh, Baba, you make your children, but you make them mine. Friends, with all the love I could muster in the name of Lord Krishna, that is stupidness. In our text, the act of conception, where father and mother come together to make a baby, from the very get, we are making the nerves, the neurons in the brain, the personality. This is why when the Pundit is checking the child's patra, at the time of birth, the nakshatra or the star the child is born under, the birth chart, things like Mangalik and all these other things that follow a child. If the child is born in Gandamul, bad time, I could describe and tell you, like, listen, if the child is born in Vishrasi, look out, temper. And different traits are associated with timing. Therefore, if the child is made in the right time, the temperament, and we'll discuss that more tomorrow, I hope you're looking, the temperament makes a difference. So if you want a child to have the right temperament, lifespan, attitude, approach to work, ambitiousness, etc., then there is a way. This is our introduction to that. But, as I said before, what did you do in your time when you were making your child? Did you read your Gita? Did you sing? Are you listening to this calming music playing in the background? In Hinduism, we talk about the music that we expose the baby in the belly to, as it imbibes certain traits. Now in Western world, now you are hearing play Mozart and Vivaldi with woodwind instruments and string instruments, that it does something to trigger the neuronic energy of the brain, allowing the child to develop better. So the child is born and has more hand-eye coordination, the child less likely to have various forms of autism, different things, because of how the child is made. Listen, don't be stupid like Pundit Keshava. Consider what I'm saying. Imagine in my analogy of the bakery, I'm always talking about the bakery. I want the best cake to be in this box. The healthiest, the best, the brightest, bravest fella to be in this box. The girl must be the beautiful, most pretty girl in this box. And I have to make this. I get the opportunity to make a cake in this box. But you know what I'm going to tell you? You don't make the mind, you don't make the persona, you have no hand in making the ingredients or in bringing together the cake. I have no control. Everything is in God's hands. That's craziness, friends. When you want anything in this life, you have to know what you're putting in it. And how you make this cake is how it will be in life, how it will sell. Will it be a valuable cake? Will it be expensive because it is so valuable, or will it be just a cake, or just another baby, or just another child that is dying, starving, prematurely becoming sick, suffering, and dying? Me personally, I want the best cake. In this discourse, as we are continuing, Arjun did the work, Subhadra did the work, and no matter who they are, this is not somebody saying, okay, I am wearing a Janeu, I am a Brahmin, I am a doctor, I have the best background. We do not need to pray. Bear that in mind. These sanskars, wedding, funeral, are done across the board for everybody, because we all come and have to go. Regardless of our individual belief in God, good and bad, I could be belonging to this denomination, or I could belong to this group. I still have to do my sanskars if you are a follower of Sanatana Dharma. So in this instance, Arjun makes the time to talk to the baby. Subhadra would listen to calming music, etc., to imbibe within this child the right traits. Now it is time for him to be tested. Let's hear what happens. As the opposing side is becoming more and more terrified, Sanjay tells Dhritarashtra, the blind king, Sumitra is driving that chariot as if those horses would run out of air with so much pace and speed. All the Kauravas looking at this hero coming as if he's a blazing sun himself, so much light and bright with all his armor reflecting the sun. They get afraid of what is coming. They are about to be hit from the side, and they don't know what to do because they are following the Guru in the circle, and they cannot defend themselves against what is coming on the flank. Nandalala yadhu nandalala, daya karo prabhu nandalala, nandalala yadhu nandalala, daya karo prabhu nandalala, nandalala yadhu nandalala, daya prabhu karo prabhu nandalala. Nana vidhitre nidhyataha shavo dindo ye krodasto Drona charya ye tauyuta sangha desha drijayate
Nandalala yadu
Nandalala daya karo prabhu Nandalala Nandalala
yadu Nandalala daya karo prabhu Nandalala Nandalala yadu Nandalala daya karo prabhu Nandalala.
Tatastisha sharireyascha sharira yevayaveyascha saha Sanktastaраskiti priyatam kusho vidya dhimare
Nandalala yadu Nandalala daya karo prabhu Nandalala
Nandalala yadu Nandalala
daya karo prabhu
Nandalala
Nandalala
yadu Nandalala daya karo prabhu Lala Vrindavan Bihari Lala ki jai. Abhimanyu driving harder, faster, charging against these people, fill their hearts with fear. Seeing him coming, Drona himself opens his eyes. all the animals, everybody is bracing for the impact. O king, all of our musicians stop playing. There is no way for them to get out. Come by me, come this side, pull this way. They are trying to escape the inevitable. And they cannot move, they cannot leave. The hoofs of the animals seem as if they get heavier and heavier. And the Kaurav are trying to shield as best as they could this lash that is coming. And he starts to shoot so many arrows as he's coming that he shot their bodies, severing limbs, head, as if he had covered the earth with the bodies, just as the Pundit throws the kush grass on the ground when we're going to do puja and covering the earth with blades of grass. Abhimanyu started to cover the earth with the bodies of all these great personas as he was starting to destroy all of them. Copious amount of blood, arms, disfigured bodies now laid upon the earth. And he continues to fight. The son of Arjun in all directions was spinning, shooting arrows at cars, persons, animals, everyone, everybody got the shafts of his arrow as if they were dipped in gold, with the feathers at the back being golden in color. These arrows, all of great merit and power, were released against the Kauravas. All the different Kaboj, Bahalika, all the different families are afraid. Achieving single-handed the most difficult feat, that which could not be comprehended, Abhimanyu crushed the army. He crushed your army, O blind king, even as if it was that three-eyed Devta that would come upon the earth and destroy all the Asuras, all the bad. That Mahadev, it was as if Mahadev was in the middle of the battlefield, spinning his Trishul. This child was able to do what only he could do. The son of Arjun, his feats are indescribable, and he began to break your infantry. All the divisions that would rush to save those that had fallen, to cover them, as they came in, they became mangled with sharp arrows at the hands of the son of Subhadra. It was as if Kartik, son of Shiva, is fighting all the demons. When Kartik was from a young boy and he becomes the leader of the army, when he's married to Shashti Devi and he's let loose upon all the bad people. The general of the army alone was needed. His forces were told to hold back, and Kartik, Skand, Baba destroyed all of them. It is as if, Dhritarashtra, for you to understand what is happening on that field, it was as if Kartik, son of Shiva, came upon that field in that little boy. It was as if he was possessed. And this little boy, how big could a 16-year-old boy be? How much knowledge could he have? The mouth of Dhritarashtra is becoming parched. His eyes are rolling as he's listening. He's becoming frightened for his people, for his sons. His sons have to face this. Then Duryodhan, realizing his army is being destroyed, thrown aside by the work of the son of Arjun, he turns around to Duryodhan, to Drona, and he says, we have to do something. We have to fight him. We have to destroy him. Drona, although he is fighting, he is watching and he is in amazement. All the soldiers are surrounding Abhimanyu, and Duryodhan is looking for a way, thinking the Guru will open his mouth and give them the solution how to kill this little boy. He is destroying us. Drona is saying, wow, he's just like his father. How is it this little child is so impressive? And the teacher, wherever you meet a teacher is a teacher. They look at the speech, they look at the oratory, they look at the mannerism, they look at how a child carries themselves, even in adulthood. The teacher will always grade the person. And this teacher is no different. Although they are on the battlefield, although weapons are being wielded, the blood is evident all over, Duryodhana is looking for a way to beat him. And Dronacharya still says, wow, I remember my student Arjun. I remember his father, and he has his father's ways. This boy is truly blessed. When Duryodhana heard that word fall from the lips of his guru, who is supposed to be on our side, O Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana himself ran out. He says, if you will not, I will deal with him. And there it was as if Drona woke up from a sleep. He says, everybody, protect the king. We cannot allow him. He is not able to beat that son of Arjun. He is going there to lose his life. Abhimanyu saw Drona speaking, and he saw Duryodhana charging from the circle, and he knows if he gets him, this will be the end of the war. If he gets Duryodhana, this will be the end of it. And a fight starts. Taking bow and arrow, he is shooting. He breaks the flag. He breaks the main staff of the chariot of Duryodhana. Duryodhana cannot turn around. He cannot help himself fast enough to pull the string. He cannot. The speed with which this child, the ferocity with which this child is pulling one arrow after another, Duryodhana is too big. He is sluggish. And with his age, he's middle-aged, he cannot respond to the ability of this 16-year-old. And it was as if he's just trying to block all the weapons that are being sent his way. All the other soldiers rush at Abhimanyu to save the king. Dusha pierced 9 arrows against the body of Abhimanyu. Dushashan pierced him with 12 different shots. Kripa shoots him 3 times. Drona himself hit him or scraped his skin with 17 different arrows. All of them looking as if they are snakes breaking out with poison coming at him. But none could stop him. His view, his vision was fixed on Duryodhana. He remembers the promise he made to Yudhishthira. He's not going to make his father shame. He wants to be able to tell his father what he was able to do on this field. Abhimanyu, this great monarch, this great prince, pierced each one of them with arrows. Displaying his skill, he damaged their hands, he damaged them. Abhimanyu engaged all of his sons, O Dhritarashtra, terrifying them. Displaying his marvelous might, he had to run. Abhimanyu, quickly repulsing all your sons. It was as if Garud is there, giving him the speed of the wind in which he's pulling arrows and shooting at them. With 10 arrows, he cut Duryodhana's charioteer. The horses were free, the bow knocked out of his hands. All of them were getting frightened. Karna, Kripa, Drona, all of them. Shala, Shalya, all of them did not know how to handle him. When Duryodhana could not take it anymore, now Karna comes on the battlefield. Karna is the first son of Kunti Devi, given great armor by Surajnarayan Swami. Do you remember the discourse? Indra, the father of Arjun, Indradevta comes and as a Brahman and he begging alms. And that same Karna has the way where if a Swami, if a Pandit asks him for donation, whatever they ask for, he will give it. He says, please give me the earrings, the armor that you were born with, that armor on your chest. Give me that armor. And without a second thought, Karna takes it off. But at this time in the fight, the armor is still there, he's protected. Karna rushing into battle, but is aware of the power of Abhimanyu, knowing the prayer and the veracity of his father. Karna is the person who is equal to Arjun, but still he knows the power of this child. Pierced with arrows, shot by Abhimanyu, Shalya and others start to retreat. Karna goes forward. Seeing the power of him, Karna begins to fight. Dhritarashtra says, what warriors of my army tried to resist the son of Arjun in that battle? He's crushing all our troops. He is so powerful. So nobody is able to stand against him. Remember his question now. What it is, how is it that this child was made so powerful? How is it that he is so young? Arjun, his father, has to go and pray and beg, and even at one point he's fighting in the hunter form when Lord Shiva comes with the bow, when they are shooting to see who owns this animal. Tested by Lord Shiva himself. He has to do all these things. He goes, when you see people in Anand Ramayana, when we hear about the katha between Hanuman and Arjun, why we put the Hanuman flag so high. Look at the Pitya in Mahabharata. You see the Pitya on your Gita, you'll see it, where Arjun and Krishna are talking on the chariot. Look above, you'll see the red flag of Hanuman. Where Hanumanji, if you know Mahabharata, if Hanuman meets Bhim in the forest, when he tells him, well, brother, if you want me to move my tail. I am so old, I cannot lift the tail. If Hanuman and Bhim interact, how is it the flag went above Arjun's chariot? When Arjun was full of pride, Lord Shiva says, Hanumanji, I want you to go and test him and break that Abhiman. If he remains so full of pride, he will not take learning and teaching, and he will make mistakes and he will lose the war. Hanuman Baba tests Arjun. And at the end of the test, Hanuman makes a promise to Lord Krishna that wherever you put my flag, I will protect. Wherever you put me up, wherever you put me above, I will rule. For this reason, when Arjun is going to the war, the Kapi Dwaj, or the flag with the Kapi, or the monkey, or the Hanuman, he's on that red flag above that chariot. He is there. Later in Mahabharata, when the war is done, Krishna comes off the chariot. He says, Arjun, you come off the chariot. And he says, Hanuman, you come now. And Hanuman jumps off the chariot and the entire thing burns. It blisters. It's done. All the war, all these arrows that we're talking about, all the signs of the war, truly showed then. For this reason, till today, whenever we're putting up roof, when we're doing any Hanuman puja, when you're transporting anything of all the colors that are there in this life, why do we put up a red flag? And if, just as a side note, if we are worshipping Hanuman Baba, building my roof, look up, putting your flag here, please allow it to be safe, let me get through, please. Why are you offering alcohol to that for? Message me about that. Do you know about what I'm talking about? Many people go and they offer punching by the red flag. They soak it and they have to wash their hand in the alcohol. You'll hear the builders. I don't know if the builders want alcohol. I don't know if it is that. But if you're doing Hanuman Puja, I've never heard. Maybe now we have to sanitize our hands with COVID. But prior to that, why did this practice of offering alcohol where this Hanuman flag is, that is a practice, a tradition, and we need to correct that and get back to our Hanuman worship. All these things were happening. Everybody is fighting. They are so proud. All the sides on the Pandavas, they are laughing at the Kauravas and tell them, you will not escape us today. Today you have met your match. Today you have met Abhimanyu. He is no way less than Krishna or Arjun. Abhimanyu continued to wage war against them. And all you could hear from a distance was the twang, the pulling of the bow of Abhimanyu. And it was as if, Sanjay tells Dhritarashtra, it is as if people thought it was thunder in the sky. He is so ferocious. Subhadra's son, he is destroying all of our people, O king. You want to hear? Nanda dhulare radha pyare kunja vihari shama murari. Nanda dhulare radha pyare kunja vihari shama murari. Nanda dhulare shama pyare nidhana mitra sobhadra parma stritah prapta pavan ardharshayat tejasmi drishate sarvasu bharat tardrishta. Nanda dhulare radha pyare kunja vihari shama murare. Nanda dhulare radha pyare kunja vihari shama murari. Ata brajindra mahaprago dushashan bharat dhuj prat pavan harishana palayo ye tam ho kripa bhashan tvam ye ati. Nanda dhulare
radha pyari kunja vihari shama murari. Nanda dhulare radha pyare kunja vihari shama murari.
Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki jai. At this point again, Drona is saying to all of them who are wrong him, how wonderful, wonderful your prowess. Looking at him, I see Yudhishthira, I see Nakul, I see Sahadeva, I see Bhim, all his sons, Arjun, I see all the sons of Pandu. I regard him to be superior in the art of archery. Hearing these words of Drona again, Duryodhan is addressing Karna, Raja Balhika Dushashan, the one who rules the Madras. The preceptor loves all the Kshatriya, all his students. But you do not have affection for this son of Arjun. If we do not do something, none of us are going to survive. Listening to the words of the king, Dushashan, one of his younger brothers, rushes out. And he goes to fight. And quickly he's damaged and has to retreat off the battle. Karna, who is the first child of Kunti when she had gained the mantra from Durvasa Rishi, when she was attending to his needs, he says, I will give you a mantra. When you say this mantra, God will appear and give you your children. And when Pandu could not father children, all these things, I'm talking about it because we're going to go into it tomorrow night. When Pandu could no longer, he gains a shrap. He went in the forest and he was hunting and he kills a tiger. And when the tiger dies, Male on one side, female on the other side. Human beings. It transformed. And the dying breath of the Muni, the male, he says, my wife and I were sporting in this animal. She was the stripe and I was the main color. We were together in this form and you have killed us. And in this way, I put shrap on you. The day you touch your wife, you will die. This is the father of the Pandavas I'm referring to. So Kunti could not have children with her husband. She goes and she uses the prayer. She gets Yudhishthira, she gets Bhim, she gets Arjun, and she taught the prayer to Madri. And from this she gets Nakul and Sahadev. But before all of them came, one day as a child maybe, she says the prayer out of, will this really happen? Will it work? And Surjayang Swami in all his energy came and he says, here, young Kunti, baby. Not being married, where did this child come from? She puts it in a basket and sets it down the river. Something that she will regret when her soul has to go for judgment. That soul, that son, on the river, is picked up by a woman known as Radha, and she is taught, she trains him, teaches him love, and he is taught the arts as an archer, as a warrior, although he is not being brought up in the home of a warrior. When all of them are trying to save Dushashan, Karna, the friend of Duryodhana, he rushes out. And displaying great amount of archery, great amount of skill, he is fighting this person known as Abhimanyu. Let's hear what happens in the next verse. Jai Bole Baba Tab Sharanam. Jai Bole Baba Tab Sharanam. Jai Bole Baba Tab Sharanam. Jai Samba Sada Shiva Tab Sharanam. Jai Samba Sada Shiva Tab Sharanam. Ati Bharat Mahamanye Saveda Sanjayatam Yadhika Pandavaye Krodan Putra Prapya Navaye Ati Jai Bole Baba Tab Sharanam. Jai Bole Baba Tab Sharanam. Jai Samba Sada Shiva Tab Sharanam. Jai Samba Sada Shiva Tab Sharanam. Umapati Mahadeva Ki Jai. Karna, Dushashan, all of them rush and he's hitting them, he's beating them, he's damaging them. Dushashan fainted, he was unconscious. Karna is damaged, they have to retreat. And as they were retreating now, all the Pandavas are coming to destroy them, save one individual. Jayadratha, he is different. He stands firm when all of the soldiers run away. The person who is ruling that area called the Sindhu, he stands firm and he protects them. So the king wants to know, this guy is really special. This is my son-in-law. But how come he has the power to neutralize them? He says, do you remember in the occasion where they tried to rape Draupadi? Jaya was humiliated by Bhimsen. And because of that feeling of humiliation, he went to pray to Ishwar, to Sarva, that form of Lord Shiva. And when Hara, Mahadev Baba, came in dream to him, he asked, what are you praying for, Jaya? I'm asking you, please tell me. He says, oh Sarva, I wish to be able to put a stop, to put a check, to put however you want to put a stop the forces of the Pandavas. I don't want them to overpower me, but I must be the full stop in their fight. With extraordinary powers and energy, may you give me the ability when they enter into the battlefield and they are opposite me, they are against me, may I be able to overcome whatever weapon they might present. Lord Shiva says, let it be so, except for Yudhishthira. He says, I have to leave a place for you, for your life to come from your body, and Yudhishthira will be your weakness. Umapati Mahadeva ki Jai. Sanjay says, this is why, O king, Yudhishthira was not in that part. And when they charged, he was single-handedly able to hold back the great Bhim, Nakul and Sahadev and all their forces. They continue to fight. The battle is fierce. And when Yudhishthira comes to that section, he does destroy. He does destroy that same person. Yo yo hemyata ye bhektha dravani drona ye nikam tavahi tam tam ye me vavaran praptya ye sadaye praptavid Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah Narayanaya Krishnaya
Paramatmaya Namo Namah Narayanaya Krishnaya
Paramatmaya Namo Namah. Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki Jai. Yudhishthira wants to know how is it he is stopping our forces, and he goes against that Jayadratha, destroys it, as he, by the words of Mahadev Baba, was able to overcome him. Now, O Dhritarashtra, O king, Abhimanyu is continuing the onslaught on our forces with all the great knowledge that has been imbibed within this young frame. Now all the knowledge is coming to use. Dhritarashtra wants to know, what knowledge are you speaking of? And in the battle, as they continue, as different generals rush out, again Duryodhana takes him. The son of Krata, Lakshmana, not Lakshman from Ramayana, a different time. Krata, Lakshmana, different battle. Brihad Bala, different generals drive their chariot to get to him. 6 of them attack him and fight with him at the same time. And still he's putting up a fight. Dhritarashtra wants to know, what is this knowledge you are referring to that is imbibed? And Sanjay says, it is from the conception, from the time that child came together in the body of the mother, as she's growing and developing, from that time coming forward, the various type of activities of the mother, what she would listen to, what she would read, what the father would teach the belly then, to use that word, to talk to the fetus, the garbha. These things have impacted on the outcome, and the child is born with so much teaching, training to follow in the footsteps of his father. Greatness begets greatness. But unfortunately, that isn't always true. In this life, as you know, sometimes you can have the beauty, sometimes you can have the knowledge, and your children are born with little, a missing link. Sometimes something is wrong. The brightest person or the nicest person or the most honest person, and the children that come from some people disappoint them. The opposite does happen. Think about in the story of Ramayana, where Pulastya and all the great munis that come from Kubir, and they come into Ravan. And Ravan is very powerful. He comes from a Brahmin family, great lineage. But in his example, he goes off track. In the university, we talk about Natya and we talk about Nritya. Natya is the person's genes. the person's blood. This person comes from a taxi driver, so his blood means he can only be a taxi driver. He can't be anything else. He cannot do anything else. His father was a drunkard, he will become a drunkard. Nurture says, regardless to your genetic makeup, if you put the person in a good environment, the environment around the individual, that will impact the person. Regardless to race, gender, your caste, your family background, all these different human definitions and caps that put on people. If you put a person maybe in a prayerful environment, maybe in a home, a foster home, where they are taught how to, be clean, be honest, be truthful, be diligent, do your work, do your homework, they will be different and they will approach the scenarios differently, coming as a difference, as a savior. This is what happens when you see people are in an unsafe home, when social services take a child. Why are they changing the environment? That is the nurture side, for safety, so that it can be a safe environment for children to grow. Genes is not the all. And we could discuss that. You could send me a message, WhatsApp me, you've seen my number, send me a message and tell me if you agree with the nature or the nurture. Which one works? Which one in your example, in your family, in your home, made the difference? In this example, we are talking about both. We have the nature. He comes from a great persona, Arjun. Krishna is his uncle. And with the training, with the environment, the love, and all the teaching, we have a very, very competent, very young, but very competent individual. The battle continues as I'm wrapping up. And the person known as Dushashan, your grandson, your son, Dushashan, his son, takes the battlefield. When he sees Abhimanyu raise a wheel from the chariot as he was attacked by these six, he has to come out of the chariot. The chariot is damaged now. He's robbed of the bow, the arrow, the sword, the wheel that he is lifting now, like Krishna, to come upon Dushashan in the battlefield. Wait, wait, wait. The son is holding back. Don't hit him, don't hit him. And he's running with a mace. Abhimanyu grabs up the mace. And as he's raising his hands like this to come down on the enemy, your grandson, just as Mahadev fought Andhaka, here now the great warrior is met with the mace of the son of Dushashan, your grandson, hit him right here in the plumb of his head, the middle of his head, knocking the crown from his head. His body slumped to the ground, as if he was overcome by fatigue. No blood, no flesh, nothing oozing, but just as if he had all of a sudden gotten so tired that he needed to take a sleep, as it were, or Dhritarashtra, peacefully. His body slumps to the ground. And in this way, know that the great Abhimanyu was slain. The earth was still, and for that moment the battle stopped. Of course, our side celebrated. The Kauravas were amazed that he did it. How could what nobody else do? You did it. In that time where the summer, the heat, all these things were pumping, the place became very still, as if it was at that time the setting of the sun. And he says the energy, just as the moon in the case of an eclipse where Rahu comes and engulfs the moon in darkness, lunar eclipse, like that, the energy, the light of that place was robbed by the light going out of Abhimanyu. On the other side of the battlefield, all the time they were jeering, all the time the soldiers were watching outside the Veer Chakra. They were calling out on their hero. But now, quiet befalls the camp of the Pandavas. They feel robbed. 6 different chariots, 6 different warriors from the side of the Kauravas challenge this one little boy. It is so unfair that this slaughter, that this murder, that this robbery had to happen. The father does not know of this yet. It's in this last verse. Who hears? Who hears of this loss? Yudhishthira. Let's hear what he says in this last couple of verses, everybody. Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Shakti Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo
Namah
Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Shakti Rupena Samstita Abhimanyu Dhritarashtra Yudhishthira Tan Praptayeto Yevana Sampratya Pradhanischa Surya Dharma Sarvarajas Vi Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah Dhiryam Na Bhalaye Drishtava Sombhadran Nidhi Patintena Ajat Shoka Ye Svaitana Ye Vidhana Vachana Bhid Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah. Shri Vishnu Bhagwan Ki Jai. Beholding Abhimanyu equal to the sun and the moon in splendor, laid dead now on the field. O blind king, all your troops, they obtain great joy, while the troops of the Pandavas are highly distressed. When that young Abhimanyu, still minority, still filled with youth, young person, being slain, they go and they inform the virtuous king Yudhishthira. He rushes out to see what had happened from his camp, and he sees dead on the field Abhimanyu. Yudhishthira blames himself. He says, I bless you, son, may you ascend to the heavenly regions. He calls on his army, stand firm, do not run. Yudhishthira, in his heart, he says, he's slain so many, and today now he takes rest. Dhritarashtra is caught in a very interesting situation. His heart bleeds because remember, this is his nephew, Yudhishthira, his son, Arjun's son. But at the same time, they are jealousful. They are competitive. They are fighting after all. So he's happy at the same time. Abhimanyu is the performer of great deeds. We should not grieve for him. But Yudhishthira is wondering how will he face Subhadra. Tonight, as I conclude, when bad things happen, the very numbing statement, well, that is karma, that is life, very harsh. Especially when speaking to people who are affected by loss and by pain, like this. I'm not going to draw on any particular example. This is why I started off with this. In the discussion of Abhimanyu, where it is predestined before he was born that he would die young. It is there. And we could see that in Patra. We know that. You can check and see the life expectancy of a child. You can see that. And we pray. We do Shivratri is coming. We're going to do Triambakam mantra and do different vrat, Payo vrat. People who are doing on the Falgun month started when the bride half is coming up on the 14th, just after. People do Payovrat. Payovrat is one of the vrat that was done by Aditi, given by Kashyap, her husband, when Bali removes all the devatas from the heavens. He runs all of them more or less. Bali is the grandson of Prahlad. And the mother is saying, my children are suffering, what could I do? And she does Payovrat, and she's given this by the husband, and it says that when you please Lord Vishnu, he will come to help you. And she got what we call Vaman. That incarnation of Lord Vishnu came to rid the earth of Bali. For this reason, till today, people do Payovrat and they chant the different names of Lord Vishnu in a stotra. People do fasting, and for 12 days that Payovrat is done. They fast and they subside only on milk and sweet stuff, no salt, nothing tamasic, nothing bitter. They sleep on the floor. In a different night, maybe, or third night, I'll go through that with you. Because the answer that we're looking for is, if this be our example of a 16-year-old intelligent life in front of him, what could I do to prevent my child from becoming like Abhimanyu? You don't see trouble coming. You don't know what is coming, when it is going to happen, and how it's going to happen. If we could have all looked in a glass ball and seen the future, maybe it would be different. But every time I put my child in the car, every time I send my child on the road, just as how COVID is a risk, life itself, our community, the people we trust, it is a risk. Therefore, join me tomorrow night and the next night as we do more information about how we could better make, imbibe, grow, to explain why we do some of the things we do, the practices we have, to explain, to touch on it, and then what could we do to maintain what we get, what we have. Wonderful discourses. Tomorrow night we will be in Mahabharata again, going forward into Vishnu Purana and other texts to support these things. Some of the sanskar would be rooted in the Dharma Shastra and other things that I will make reference so that people can know where I'm talking from proper referencing, not just off the top of my head. Please remember that. Tonight, if I have talked about or touched on anything sensitive, I apologize, first and foremost. I am not harping on anybody's loss, but I am just trying to better prepare as a religious leader other people, the onlookers, the people who saw what some people went through or go through or still going through, like a woman being in a domestic violent relationship, and you know your child in trouble and you can't do anything about it. What could I do to prevent that from happening to my child? For the parent that is now holding that belly and they are wondering, dear God, what could I do? Tonight as I conclude, my prayers go out to parents that have lost their children. And this is why I was reading the Damodara ashtakam, where the mother is, I have to say, playing with Krishna. Pray in your mind as we get ready to conclude tonight, as I do a couple of verses again. Because who gains the blessing? When she goes to allegedly, apparently, reprimand Krishna, this is Yashoda, becoming so fixated on the love that she has for her child, that she is so engrossed in all the wickedness and all his doings, that she's gaining liberation and she doesn't know it. Idam te mukham bhojam atyanta nilada vratam kuntale sanigdha raktam cha gopaya mahush kumbitam bimba raktam dharme manasya avirastam malam lakshalabhle. O Krishna, one with the dark lotus-like face, with all your locks of your curly hair, with your lips that are red like the bimba fruit, due to the kisses of Mother Yashoda, what can I describe to compare to the love that is shown to you by your mother. May that vision of that child that is loved by Mother Yashoda, may that be etched in my memory and never leave me. Namo Deva Damodara Ananta Vishnu Prasiddha Prabhu Dukha Jala Abhimagnam Kripa Drishti Vrishti Yati Dinam Batanu Grahanesha Mama Ajam Idam Akshay Dvija. O unlimited Vishnu, O Master, O Lord, be pleased upon me. I am drowning in an ocean of sorrow because I am always losing things, people, or myself. I am almost like a dead man, numb to the pain of death. Please shower the rain of mercy upon me. Lift me up and protect me with your divine grace and vision. As we join together, as we conclude tonight, please pray. As we have discussed, just an introduction to the topic of Abhimanyu. The long discourse. He himself is an entire section, a Parva of this Mahabharata. Dear Lord, thank you for the time. Thank you for the opportunity to sit together in the privacy and comfort of our home and do your satsang, do your work, listen to your glory, practice Shravanam, Bhakti, etc. Dear Lord, may you stretch your hands and bless those that are infirmed, those that are sickly, those that are ill, those people that are under some form of isolation, restriction because they are sickly. Prabhu, may you please accept all that we have to offer in terms of the prayer in our heart. What else do we have tonight? We thank you for the support of Sankhya and our blessed sponsors that make these things happen. Dear Lord, may you please accept all that we have to offer and bless us with the protection and the vision that we need as we learn more and more about children and how to get it right. May you please bless all your families, all your children, all your homes that are looking at you and listening to your discourse. Dear God, may you save them from all forms of difficulty and trouble. Together, everybody, as we do final prayer. Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva tvameva bandhu cha saka tvameva tvameva vedya dravinam tvameva tvameva sarvam mama deva deva tvameva sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. Prem Savalomapati Mahadeva ki Jai. Pavanaputra Hanuman ki Jai. Shri Adi Shakti Mata ki Jai. Vindravan Vihari Lal ki Jai. Satya Sanatan Dharma ki Jai. Jai Jai Sitaram. Until tomorrow night, everybody. Sitaram.
Sitaram, and thank you for joining us. That was a very informative and beautiful satsang presented by Pundit Keshava Gosine. You can call or WhatsApp Panditji at 712-2180. Sitaram. Sankhya Television is not only the first Hindu TV station in Trinidad and Tobago, but Sankhya TV also has the most coverage. Sankhya